Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Friday, the end of the week. Yes, I've been waiting for it so much. Happy Friday to you. This dude here is definitely having a happy Friday. I want to share it with you because I recognize this street on Kyiv. I've been on this street many times. It's one of the main streets. But in the back, if you can hear, it's an air raid siren. But this dude doesn't let it bother him, not one bit. Look at him go. This dude is enjoying life. No Russian missiles, no Russian drones are gonna change that. He's happy. He wants to play his drums and he's very good at them. If I would say, what are Ukrainian people like in one video, this is it. Yes. We don't care you're sending drones on us. We're still playing drums on the streets. With that good vibe, now let's begin the real news, my friends. Because in Russia, Stavropol, one of Russian majors, found its end. Now, he is a veteran of the SBU, Special Military Operation, whatever you want to call it. It's war, aggression war against Ukraine. This dude was the one who bombarded Mariupol. He was responsible for coordinates and target picking on bombs and missiles that struck Mariupol in 2022, especially the theater where about a few hundred civilians hid in the basements, including a lot of kids. They bombarded that theater. Well, what happened to this major in the city of Stavropol? I'm glad you asked. I cannot show you the video, but he was demilitarized, knocked out cold, and I'm so glad because this dude was the devil. Russian deputy head of Stavropol, the SVO veteran Zaur Kurtsiev, got blown up by an IED. He was career officer involved in the killing of Ukrainians and the destruction of Mariupol and Avdiivka. Now, there's a nasty, crazy story of how they got to him, and when I say they, I cannot confirm if it was the Ukrainians or the Russians. It could be both, but how they got to him, it's insane. Here's another angle of everything that happened. This is the Paradna, the Banelka, in front of what had happened. Two men met and then bada bim, bada boom, a beautiful demilitarizing explosion, and this dude was sent to enrich the soil. In this case, the Stavropol soil or the pavement, whatever you want to say. I have no empathy for this guy at all. But yeah, just to illustrate who he actually was, he was a major before he resigned from the military and went into politics, and he was the deputy mayor of Stavropol, the city in Russia, before he was demilitarized. But in this video, I let him speak. Why am I speaking? He speaks for himself. Check it out. I am the head of the Aviation Combat Control Center. This is the military unit that is responsible for the combat use of aviation in the All Forces Army Band. Where the bomb will fall, where the missile will fly, that's what we do. He basically says where and what, and just in Mariupol, almost everything that got hit was civilian, because there was very little military facilities itself in Mariupol. They were around the city, but they bombarded that city to the ground almost. So this is the dude, that's the face behind it. And he says it right here. I received the order of courage from leading the air part of the operation to liberate the city of Mariupol. When he says liberate, I think he means destroy. The peculiarity and complexity was that on one approach to the city, when very dense fighting began, I really wanted to help to be useful to the ground units. But due to the fact that the aerial bomb is such a means of aerial defeat, which is not possible to use in high density of objects, he means that, oh, we're trying to avoid civilian casualties, yada yada, we gotta be very precise. Then he goes on to talk how they developed a new kind of chopper missile that was very precise to hit only military targets in Mariupol. Yeah, all of that yapping, we know exactly what happened in Mariupol. If you don't know, just Google Mariupol graveyards aerial photos. That has expanded, what, 10, 50, 100 times, unmarked graves of civilians who Russians just eliminated. And this was the face, man, and name behind it all. He has been demilitarized. I'm sure you want to know how exactly did it happen. And this story, it's a nasty story, man. Check it out. According to sources, Kurtsev was drawn into a scheme involving homosexual honey trap. Whoa, that happens a lot in Russia. He met a man on a gay dating website and they exchanged explicit photos. Damn, a Russian major, a deputy mayor of Stavropol doing that? Can you imagine? The man was part of a setup. When they eventually agreed to meet in person, he was given a device supposedly intended to record compromising material on Kurtsev. Since, Kurtsev now was a deputy mayor, is part of politics, so the other guy who was supposed to meet him, he thought the device he's carrying is like to record the mayor secretly, just, planted it in his bag. But this too was a deception. The equipment was not for recording at all. It was a bomb. When the two men met, the device detonating, eliminating both of them. And there's a video about it actually of everything happening. You can see the links in the description below. I cannot show it, but yeah, it goes off like bombs go off nicely. So another horrible person and a war criminal has been sent away from this world. I think the world now is a better place. But now, my friends, a massive leak has been published from Russia. It was published by a German newspaper, but it's one of the biggest leaks to ever happen to the Russian military, and it's one of the most painful ones. Because these documents, there were about 2 million of these documents. They were gathered in the span of years, analyzed and now published for everybody to see. And they are about Russian nuclear facilities. Something that Putin is trying to hide the most from the West. I mean, he does his nuclear saber rattling, and if we have the locations, the facilities, the capabilities, it's not so secret anymore, not so mysterious anymore, not so scary anymore. I'll read you the thread because this is a massive blow. Putin's nuclear files. I mean, there's a short video also, but I'll read it to you. And there's journalists, scroll story, 3D modeling, everything is here, the names and everything, the links in the description. It's massive. I mean, it's too much to cover in 2 minutes, which I'm trying to do. So go and check it out yourself. But I'll speed through this video. These videos are just not made, oh, I have an idea, I'll make an illustration. They are based exactly on the documents coming from the Russian military, from the nuclear forces that were stolen. So these facilities, locations are exact. These are satellite photos. These locations and what's inside these locations are exact. What you see is what is there, which is crazy. We even have now the 3D models, the architectural plans of these sites, some of which Putin had modernized in the last 10 years, pouring hundreds of billions of dollars worth of money in there to modernize them. Look at that. We have everything. We know even what's inside these because we have the architectural plans. This is massive. All right. I'll read you some of the thread. I'm not going to read you everything, but most important parts. Every Russian should know that Putin's nuclear arsenal plans have been made public in the entire world. These documents allow us for the first time to uncover some of Putin's most closely guarded secrets. The data was published by military contractors. Military contractors are the ones who military pays these companies to build these sites. I mean, the military itself cannot build these sites. They require massive expertise of, underground building and everything that the military doesn't have. So they pay civilian companies. Some of these companies, by the way, are Western. Some of these companies were German, and it was published by a German newspaper. So all of the information they obtained over the years has been published. And I cannot say enough how massive this is. Although Russia tightened laws in 2020, restricting military records, journalists from Dunwatch and Der Spiegel have gained access to highly sensitive data on Russia's nuclear program. The two European media outlets analyzed more than 2 million leaked confidential documents. So there's more documents than anybody could analyze. You need AI to do that. Putin has been quietly modernizing Russia's nuclear arsenal for several years The documents are said to reveal modernization program, including renewing old Soviet-era bases, building other facilities from scratch. Images show new barracks, guard towers, command centers, storage buildings, underground tunnels, and even instructions on where soldiers sleep, exercise, and play chess, the journalist said. So it's very detailed, going down to the details of their recreational time, like where they play chess or basketball, whatever they want to do. Where's the cantina, underground? So everything is published. The construction of facilities uses products from Western companies, often products from the German company Knauf. And the company is not pressured by the fact that Russians destroyed their factory in Soledar, which is especially strange. Like the Knauf company had a factory in Ukraine which Russians destroyed, and the Knauf company still is building those bunkers in Russia. The thing is, Putin pouring, hundreds of billions of dollars into modernizing these bunkers and rockets, nuclear missile silos and everything that's supposed to be secret. You cannot change their locations. I mean, they're there. They are static. If that is known now, they're going to be I'm sure the CIA knew all of that anyway, but now everybody knows. So Putin's most secret, one of the more expensive programs in the military, the nuclear program, the nuclear forces, everything is known. And now you got to think, okay, I poured like hundreds of billions into these facilities. Everybody knows where they are and what they are. I cannot change their locations. I cannot find words how big of a hit that must be for Putin. According to Hans M. Christensen, a director of the Nuclear Information Project at the Federation of American Scientists, this leak of documents speaks volumes about Russia's ability to conceal Putin's most protected projects. A lot of people think, for some reason, they've been falling into the Russian propaganda trap that Russians have some hidden capabilities, some hidden armies, like Hitler thought he had in the final days. They don't. Everything they have, everything they make, everybody they mobilize, they immediately send to the front, to the war effort. They don't have anything hidden. The only thing they had hidden was the nuclear forces, nuclear missiles, and the capabilities, because they never used that in this specific war against Ukraine. But now this has also been made public. They have nothing hidden anymore, because all conventional military is already in Ukraine, and the non-conventional, which is the nuclear forces, are now also made to public. The journalists have obtained plans detailing the top secret bases. According to the Norwegian expert Tom Roseth, this is a huge breach of security. This information Russia would obviously want to keep hidden. It makes their bases potentially more vulnerable. It's a plan of how this circular bunker structure, whatever it is, was built. You can just see details here, even what materials were used and almost the measurements. There are locations on a map. Facilities like this are a dream for any foreign intelligence service, said Philip Ingram, a former colonel in the British military intelligence. These documents allow for the detection of vulnerabilities. These should never have been made public. Now again, I'll just illustrate to you one way Western militaries can make use of it. They can analyze where these, let's call it, targets are, what they're made out of, what's the structure, what's the shape of them, and then develop, if they don't already have them, missiles or weapons or bombs that best destroy them for these specific reasons. These are the most top priority targets in Russia, the nuclear capabilities. If you can locate them, you know what they're made out of, you can make a perfect weapon against them. Non-nuclear, conventional bomb, conventional missile. So yeah, this Putin's secrets, no more. No secrets, no more. Conventional military in Ukraine, nuclear forces open to public for everybody to see. Go and have fun in the description with the documents. I'm gonna have some fun of my own, my friends, because I'm going to publish and leak these 5 names to you, because these are the guys who supported the channel and Buy Me a Coffee. Monthly membership, my friends, here we go. Matthias, Fredrik Josep Hinojosa, Alvin Smith, Mark Lige, Echo Delta 113, nice. My friends, if you want your name to be a part of this list, just sign up and buy me a coffee for monthly membership. And I'll be butchering your name like United States will be butchering these nuclear facilities of Putin in the future. But I haven't shown you anything burning in Russia in this video yet, and this wouldn't be a true video of mine if I wouldn't show you some factory burning in Russia, because there's plenty of them happening every day. Russian media report a large fire at Avant-Garde plant in St. Petersburg. The plant produces radio electronics and micro-circuits for Russian military-industrial complex. It took all night to put out the fire. Causes of fire are unclear. Oh no, look at that. Look at that top secret building burning. Makes me feel warm and nice inside. Yeah, Ukraine is focusing down on these microelectronic plants in Russia. I mean, they used to focus down on Russian oil refining capabilities. They don't do that no more because United States don't want them to. You know, remember when they attacked every day almost Russian oil plants? Well, they don't do that anymore. Now they attack microelectronic producers in Russia. And this Avant-Garde plant in St. Petersburg is one of them. There's another angles of it. Plenty of videos, you know, because St. Petersburg citizens just film everything up for us, which I have to thank them for. Nice. I mean, it's a beautiful barbecue. I hope many of them happen in the future in Russia. But that's not it, because in Moscow, there's also plenty of plants which make microelectronics for the military. Here is one of them, destroyed. Wow, wow, wow. Great job, Ukrainian drones. When in St. Petersburg we didn't know what started the fire, well, in this instance it definitely was Russian soldiers smoking carelessly. How do we know? Well, I'm glad you asked, because a few moments before this video was recorded by a person outside of Moscow a little bit. They're having a barbecue of some sorts, and suddenly they hear something beautiful. The sound of freedom. It's a looted drone flying overhead. Now look at it. I always wanted to show you the specific shape of the looted drone. It's always so far away. Here you can see how you recognize it. Boom, that's the tail. That's a looted drone. It's a mass-produced Ukrainian long-range drone. Basically like a Russian Shahed, only Ukrainian lute. It looks different. It makes the same sound. Flies as fast. Carries the same amount of explosives. Costs pretty much... Look, yeah, it's just Ukrainian version of it, of the Shahed. And it does a beautiful job of spreading freedom and democracy into Russia, especially into the microelectronics plants. I love it. Now, my friends, I want to show you a video I'm sure you've never seen before. It is drones versus drones, but not only. You've seen that, not only. This is a Russian mavic drone finding a Ukrainian FPV drone with fiber optic cable, optic FPV drone, which you cannot jam, right? You can only destroy them by shooting them down or cutting the fiber optic wire, which is extremely impossible to do for humans because they will kill you before. But if you're a drone, you can do that. Check it out. I also want to point out look at it. That's the drone, right? I have it right here somewhere. Okay, I'm not going to bring it. I have it here. On top of it is a battery blue one. Weighs quite a lot. Below that, this black one is the fiber optic spool, or I don't know, spool I think. And below that's the munition. So it carries a battery, spool and munition. The drone itself is super light, super small. The rest weighs a lot. And the bigger the spool of the fiber optics, the further you can fly, but the smaller the munition has to be because the spool weighs a lot also. Pluses and minuses with the fact that you cannot be jammed, but you cannot fly as far. You know, it's always like that. So this Russian mavic drone finds this Ukrainian fiber optic drone doing its business, sees the wire. You can see a little bit of a shiny wire coming out right here. Boom, you can see it. It goes in to cut it with its rotor. Cut it right now. Cut it in half. Yeah, you can see the screen shiver. Now the drone is blind. It stays up in the air, but the operator cannot see anything. And what's the result? It hogs the trenches, yeah. So it's just a cool video of how far things have gone with it. This is, of course, a very rare one. This is definitely not going to happen on mass scale. Just a coincidence that they found this drone. But yeah, just to illustrate what the hell is going on with the drones right now on the front. Connected to these high-tech innovations of the Russian army, I present to you the Russian war donkey. Now this is their newest modernization. You know, it's even newer than the Putin's nuclear forces, which were released to the public. Now this is a war donkey. Definitely Putin doesn't want this weapon to be released to the public because it's very expensive and top secret. But here it is. Look how fancy and shiny it is. Look how gracious. It's almost elevating me. If I watch it, I feel nice. Russian war donkey. That one can take down any tank Ukrainian has to offer against it. Don't mess with the war donkey, man. My friends, over a week ago, there was the biggest the biggest prisoner of war exchange between Russia and Ukraine. 1,000 around that, in that ballpark, were exchanged to 1,000, both sides, you know. So we know what happened to the people that returned to Ukraine, because I've spoken to many of them that come from the prisoner exchanges. About half of them rejoin the military as fast as they can. The other half, they go on living their lives, being so happy they're back in Ukraine, connected to their families. But what happened to the Russians who were in Ukrainian captivity released back to Russia? I'm glad you asked. Here is a wife of one of those Russian soldiers who was exchanged back to Russia. Let's see what she has to say. Wives of recently exchanged Russian POWs say that their husbands were stripped of their phones and belongings, shoved into a Kamaz truck and sent straight back to the meat grinder. This is what Putin-style exchange looks like. If you survive the captivity, your reward is a one-way trip to die in the trench. Survival isn't honored in Russia, it's punished. Yeah, so now we know what happens to the soldiers exchanged back to Russia. They're just put on a bus and voila, Russian army got 1,000 extra meat to send back to the front. These guys will end up back in Ukrainian captivity in no time, or they will fertilize the Ukrainian soil for future sunflowers. Now I want to share a video of another Russian prisoner of war just captured like a few days ago. This is a Russian denazifier. You know, the guys who went to Ukraine to denazify Ukraine. And I present to you the German eagle. And what else does he have under here? Oh, a swastika with Rus tattooed on top. So he's a Russian Nazi. There's a lot of Russian Nazis fighting in Ukraine. These are the guys who were supposed to denazify Ukrainians, but they are themselves pure breed Nazis, because they have swastikas tattooed on their bodies. I mean, this is such a big irony, but that's how Russia works. Usually what they blame of other countries of the world doing to them, they do themselves. That's just the way they work. Now, my friends, with great pain, I have to show you Donald Trump being a clown one more time, because he again gives Putin another 2 weeks. Check it out.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon.
Within 2 weeks, you're going to find out that Putin is playing him like a fiddle. Check it out. 2 weeks. He said 2 weeks again 2 days ago. But Trump said 2 weeks at the beginning of presidency. April 27th, he said 2 weeks. May 19th, he said 2 weeks. May 28th, he said 2 weeks. He's playing the public, he's playing everybody, and Putin is playing him. So Putin is buying time, you know. Every time Putin makes this kind of a goodwill gesture or diplomatic step, you know, okay, let's have Steve Witkoff meet me one again. He buys 2 weeks, 2 more weeks, no sanctions, 2 more weeks, no big weapons to Ukraine. Trump is delusional. Putin is playing him. And every 2 weeks that Putin wins is a nice gift to him. He will use that until he can. If he can't anymore, well, that's that. But this is what's happening. So, unfortunately, Trump is, for the lack of better word, a complete moron. Trump said that really bad things would have happened to Russia if there weren't for me. So I show you a photo. Really bad things, and Putin sleeping peacefully. Trump is shielding. He tweeted that, oh, I'm not happy with Putin. Why are you bombarding Kyiv, you know? Really bad things would have happened to Russia. Yeah, he's the reason they're not happening to Russia. So he's really defending Putin. It's painful for me to see, you know, because I'm friends with the Ukrainians. I know many people from there, and I know I have my air alert app, and I switched it off now because I cannot sleep with it. But if you want to really experience what's going on, download the Ukrainian air alert app. Everybody can do that, actually, in the West also. Download it. It's about Ukraine, and it will air alert you every time when there's a missile or drone attack, or in Ukraine, in Kyiv, for example. And try to live that life for a few weeks. Wake up 4 a.m., run to the shelter, be there. You know, that's a really bad thing. And it's happening to Ukraine. Trump is doing everything he can to protect Russia from that fate. So he's a moron and he's a traitor. My friends, thank you for being on this channel this week. I promise I'll be back for you next week with more updates. Now tomorrow, as a little bit of a break from the channel membership only videos, because it's an insane schedule to keep up actually. But still join up as a channel member. It's only $1 per month and you will get extra analysis videos every Saturday, but not tomorrow because we couldn't get ready. But new ones are coming, very cool ones about Estonian military, the Baltics defensive line. We have Wagner troops in Africa, actually. We have plenty of videos coming up for you. So join up as a channel member. And until my next video, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.